everyone, and welcome to another Into the Void Real Review. This time we're reviewing something a little bit different. A documentary called Sean Combs' The Reckoning that just came out on Netflix. Last music tangential video review I did was on Die Antwoord, which I know I'm not pronouncing correctly, and I apologize. That was a fun little jaunt into the life of one of the most unusual bands out there. This one isn't so much fun as horrifying and insightful into the downfall of a hip-hop mogul who took advantage of women and men who worked for him. Interestingly enough, I didn't know that this documentary was produced by 50 Cent, who explicitly made sure to air it on the only network being shown in the facility that Combs is currently serving his time. What a flex by 50 Cent if there ever was one, and kudos to him because overall this documentary was well made. I never knew he had it in him to make documentaries on this level. He was able to get footage that P. Diddy himself had filmed 6 days prior to his arrest back in September of 2024. P. Diddy clearly looks like a man that's finally run out of all options of escaping prison time due to pleading guilty to 2 counts of violating the Mann Act, which restricts transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution. It's insightful to see how far P. Diddy has fallen. In these final days in which he's holed up in a hotel in New York calling people for favors while muttering incoherently about his dilemma, you really get a sense of his desperation firsthand. You can see the man is clearly not all there. Those years of drugs and alcohol abuse clearly haven't done him any favors over the years. The documentary dives headfirst into the early days before and after the rise of bad boy entertainment. There are early days documented of P. Diddy, who at the time was known as Puff Daddy, who coerced women into having sex with him by drugging them with things such as ecstasy. One of the most interesting elements of the documentary goes into his involvement with the deaths of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. during the East Coast-West Coast wars of the 90s. The guy really hated Tupac Shakur on a highly malevolent level, which just adds to the conspiracy that he really wanted him dead. The relationship Biggie at one time had with Tupac really made him jealous like a petulant child because, as we all know, in the early days, they were friends when they first met. Then there is his decade-long relationship with Cassidy Ventura, in which she ended up filing a lawsuit in 2023 against him for sexual trafficking and raping her. They ended up settling in 24 hours. Of course, there is the infamous 2016 video of him beating her down in a hotel surveillance video in Los Angeles. There is a lot of commentary throughout from people P. Diddy worked with saying how he cheated them out of money owed them. He even apparently raped some of the men he worked with as well. Then, there were the infamous freak-offs in which he made individuals do sexual things that lasted for days after they were given ecstasy and ketamine and lathered in baby oil laced with drugs. Bruh. They were often filmed as a means for P. Diddy to get back at them if the victims tried to retaliate. You really get a sense of who this man is and what he got away with for so many years. His trail of bad deeds date back to the 80s. I really got a kick out of how some of the people who worked with him said he really was terrible at making music. It really pairs well with his inflated ego that coalesced into a god complex that he exhibits throughout the 4 episodes of the documentary. The only thing that sucks is that there still hasn't really been a reckoning because P. Diddy still, as of now, is only serving a paltry 4 years and 2 months prison time. Time will tell if there really will be a reckoning for all the women and men he has done wrong. At its core, Sean Combs' The Reckoning is a story of a person in high standing abusing his power in the music industry ruthlessly with no regard to their integrity and to an even more diabolical degree of threatening to make them disappear forever. The guy ended people's lives without an ounce of remorse. The sad thing was seeing his son being indoctrinated to a lifestyle that is going to contaminate his soul forever. I had no intention of watching this show, but I'm glad I did. You do not have to be a fan of the subject matter on display here to really get something out of this show. I highly recommend this limited series on Netflix. It really dives in deep into one of rap music's biggest music moguls who was at once thought of as a person to aspire to, but then reveals what was really a very evil and sick individual who did whatever he could to take advantage of people to further his own ambitions. You get real-life footage paired with commentary from people who knew Sean Combs intimately on a personal and professional level. Sean Combs is an attention whore. I'm the one that you adore. 'Cause I'm a big attention whore. And it's funny because his own footage is used against him to really show the piece of work he really is. His need for attention really buries him here. I recommend you watch Sean Combs' The Reckoning. It gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Like and subscribe if you want more of this content, and I will see you the next time we venture into the void.